First, the feature was not released in
It is day 2 of the Nigeria Employers Summit 2026 here at the Abuja Continental Hotel. And today's conversation are on a subject that is rapidly changing or shaping businesses globally and locally: ESG, environmental, social, and governance frameworks.
On behalf of the ministry, for that Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment, I congratulate Neca, for the idea of this and for staying the course, for being consistent. There is one thing to have a dream. It's a completely different thing to sustain that dream. What Neca is doing is sustaining that dream. It's elevating it, to a point in which the whole country continues to look up to this event.
I'm happy here that in this room you have more like a strength of the economy of this country. Here you have your collective responsibilities, your efforts driving what we call today as the GDP of this country. So digital information plays a very significant role in advancing these priorities. It strengthens governance by making transactions transparent, traceable, and accountable. And we know in our various roles as executives, we have procedures in place that are digitalized in ensuring that there's transparency and there's efficient management of resources for proper accountability and guaranteeing increased productivity. So loyal leads lead to higher productivity. Higher productivity attracts investment, and investment, of course, creates jobs. So jobs drive inclusive growth.
As we approach 2030, let us remember, ESG is no longer optional. It is essential for the future of business in Nigeria and globally. It is therefore my pleasure to officially launch the Neca ESG Implementation Guide for MSMEs in Nigeria. Thank you so much.
At its core, sustainability reporting is about helping stakeholders understand how environmental, social governance, and climate-related issues have affected an organization's strategy, also its performance and prospects. Let us be clear, sustainability reporting is not just about producing another report. It is not about compliance for compliance sake. It's about providing information that helps investors, lenders, and other stakeholders make better decisions. It's about helping organizations understand their own risks and opportunities more effectively. And in many respects, better reporting often leads to better management and better investment decisions.
For sustainability reporting is actually the output. It's the end of all the things that you do. So the report is just one, outcome of all that you do. Sustainability reporting is you telling the general public and investing public, these are the activities, and like my colleague said, the positive and the negative. But there's a discipline that you apply in sustainability, and I'll share some of the positives that we have seen in terms of what it has helped us to do. One is a cost focus. Because we've identified what are those risks that we see as an organization, we're able to identify what are those things that we need to do to mitigate this risk that we've seen.
Two things: ESG is strategy. Strategy is information, and that is the crux of capital market investment. And more importantly, your ESG reporting gives you the access, the expressway to being at the table, to being at the forefront of being considered for investment in the capital market.
We're already taking the lead. In fact, we've taken the lead institutionally in the context of ESG, just transition engagement, apart from what your companies are doing, and we can't compete with you. But you also cannot abandon the ecosystem. Because no matter how far you've gone, the value chain that drives all of us, is still anchored on systems like Neca. So without putting you on the spot, we'll be coming back to you definitively, on what we might require, and whatever you also think, the kind of partnership you might drive with us to drive this conversation deep down. She was mentioning beyond phase 1 and phase 2, you have to move deeper. But there are a lot that doesn't even understand that there are phases. So we need to get everybody into that ecosystem through what we are doing in the just transition and ESG ecosystem, so that we can move as fast as we're supposed to move.
You've talked about digitization, so it's good that I'm asking you, what is the one approval process that should be digitized end-to-end immediately?
Maybe the state taxes.
Great, thank you. I kind of agree with you a little bit. But let me ask Mr. Anas Galadima.
So if there's any process that should be digitized, I think, like she said, is the state taxes. The state taxes are inconsistent, even from year to year by the same state. So if you have a digital system, from the beginning of the year, you can look and see all the taxes that are due from every state, and you can work to address them. Not just wait for physical copies of demand notices that could vary depending on the director in charge that particular year and all that. So I think that will serve as the most important thing to do.
Great.
Yes. From my own industry perspective, yes, I will talk about the right of way.
The right of way.
And this has to cut across, the three.
From federal to state to local government.
Yes, that we need to find a way to have it digitalized. And I want to say something as well. We shouldn't have incomplete records. That is a major issue when we submit documentation to regulators. We always come back to have to give more information, give new information. So we need to have a system, a platform that would keep the data, the sanctity of the data as well. Right. Okay. So.
Because people see regulations as basically a means of taxation. They are not. They are a means to prevent harm. The primary purpose of legislation is to prevent harm in society. It's not to raise revenue. Leave revenue generation to the revenue service, to the customs, to the revenue generating agencies. Regulations are meant to prevent harm on society. That is the primary purpose of regulation, not revenue driven.
Most NDAs lack the skill set on how to digitize. So for someone who is interested in adding value, how would you advise them? What do you recommend that they do to add value in a classical structure, for instance, an organization that works with a top-bottom approach, for instance? How will you advise them to come in to add value?
Your ChatGPT or your Claude, if you have a surge, there will be some, some caving in. So we need to also consider that. It's important to hold government accountable, but we must also speak truth to ourselves. If you leave it too late, you might have to bear some of these consequences.
Where does the legitimate statutory authority end and over-collection begin?
Advantage of what this law brings to the table, which is protect the vulnerable, make sure that everybody now complies, because unlike under the old regime, the cost of non-compliance now is much, much higher than the cost of compliance.
Nigeria stands at a defining moment in its economic transformation. Our demographic advantage, entrepreneurial spirit, strategic location, and market size present immense opportunity. However, these advantages can only be fully utilized when they are supported by efficient institutions, transparent regulations, and a business environment that inspires confidence. As we move forward, we will continue to deepen collaboration with organized private sector, state government, development partners, and all stakeholders.